The magic of family feud doesn't live in the questions. It doesn't even live in the scoreboard or the chance to win some prize money. The real heartbeat of the show, the part that makes it unforgettable, comes from everyday people standing behind those podiums, opening their mouths and saying the most unexpected, hilarious things you could ever imagine. See, when you ask 100 people a question and then tell a nervous family to shout out their best guess, you never know what's going to come out. Sometimes it's smart. Sometimes it makes perfect sense. But most of the time, especially when the pressure is on, it's something so wild, so off the wall, that the entire room explodes in laughter. That's the beauty of it. You can't script this stuff. You can't plan for it. It's pure, raw, unscripted comedy that comes from real people just trying their best in a moment of chaos. Imagine if the lights are bright, the cameras are rolling, and you've got your whole family staring at you. The audience is waiting. The clock is ticking. Steve Harvey is standing there with that look, waiting for your answer. Your brain suddenly decides to take a vacation. And instead of saying the obvious, you blurt out something so ridiculous that even you can't believe you said it. And then, of course, Steve looks at you like, you just admitted you've been living on Mars. That's the funny part, because we've all been there. We've all had those moments where we open our mouths and the wrong thing just flies out. Family Feud captures that moment and turns it into comedy gold. It's not about being perfect. It's about being human. The best moments on that stage don't come from the family that nails every answer. Nobody remembers the people who sweep the board with textbook perfect guesses. The moments that stick with us, the clips we replay over and over, are the ones where somebody shouts out an answer that makes the entire audience scream with laughter. It's the moments when somebody tries to be clever but ends up being hilariously wrong. And the crazy thing is, those moments are never planned. They just happen, and that's what makes them so funny. What's even better is how universal this humor is. Comedy on Family Feud doesn't rely on some complicated setup or a perfectly crafted punchline. It comes from the natural, unscripted silliness of real people in real time. It's a dad blurting out something embarrassing. It's a grandma saying something that shocks everyone. It's a teenager tossing out an answer that makes the whole family bury their faces in their hands. And we laugh, not because we're making fun of them, but because we see ourselves in them. We know exactly what that kind of pressure feels like. We know the panic of trying to think of something clever when all eyes are on you. And we know the feeling of saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. Family Feud just takes that moment and shares it with the world. And let's not forget the way laughter spreads. When one person blurts out something wild, it's not just them who cracks up, it's everyone. The family, the audience, Steve himself. Everybody's caught in the wave of laughter. It's contagious. It's one of those rare moments where complete strangers watching from home can laugh just as hard as the people in the studio. That's the kind of joy that doesn't need translation. No matter who you are, no matter where you're from, you understand the comedy of someone panicking and blurting out something crazy. That's why those clips go viral. That's why people share them on social media, send them to friends, and laugh about them years later. Because it's not staged, it's not polished. It's just raw, Unexpected comedy from ordinary people who accidentally create extraordinary moments. And when you combine that with Steve Harvey's perfect timing, his dramatic pauses, his looks of disbelief, and his quick wit, the whole thing turns into a masterclass in how simple human mistakes can be the funniest thing in the world. At the end of the day, the real treasure of Family Feud is that it gives us permission to laugh at ourselves. It reminds us that perfection is boring, but flaws are funny. It shows us that when we're under pressure, our brains might betray us, but in the process, we create memories that people will never forget. It's a celebration of human imperfection, and that's why it's so powerful. Unexpected comedy from everyday people is the heart and soul of Family Feud. It's proof that you don't need a Hollywood script, a stand-up routine, or a team of comedy writers to create laughter. Sometimes, all you need is a question, a microphone, a little pressure, and a regular person trying their best. And when that happens, you get the kind of humor that makes people laugh until they cry. The kind of humor that lives on far beyond the game itself. Would you like me to expand the other two steps? Steve Harvey's priceless reactions. The power of laughter and relatability. In the same 700-word Steve Harvey style too. So the whole speech builds into a flow. There are plenty of game shows where contestants give silly answers, but Family Feud feels different. Why? Because when those wild, unexpected answers come out, there's one man standing in the middle of it all, holding the mic, and his reaction is the real show. Steve Harvey has this rare gift of taking something simple, something small, and blowing it up into a comedy moment that feels larger than life. It's not just the answers, it's the way he reacts to them that makes us laugh until our stomachs hurt. Think about it. A contestant says something ridiculous, and the whole room chuckles. But then Steve steps back, stares at the contestant with that wide, half disbelieving look, and suddenly the laughter multiplies. He doesn't even have to say a word. Sometimes it's just the silence, that pause where he lets the audience catch up to what just happened. That's his magic. He knows that comedy isn't only about talking, it's about timing. And Steve has mastered the art of timing better than almost anyone in entertainment. The thing about his reactions is that they come from a place of honesty. He's not up there trying to play a character or force a punchline. He genuinely can't believe what he just heard. And that authenticity shines through. It's like the audience gets to experience the moment twice. Once when the contestant gives the answer, and again, when Steve processes it right in front of us. He becomes the voice of everyone watching, saying exactly what we're all thinking, but saying it in a way that only he can. And let's talk about those facial expressions. His face is a whole conversation.